You are saying one term. So what? It's the Kenyans who will decide the term. And we will see where we want to go. I am confident when that time comes, we will face Kenyans squarely and tell Kenyans, this is why we did ABCD, this is where we want to go. Utasema yako, tutasema yetu. Tuone Wakenya watamini nani. So hivyo mimi sina wasiwasi. Piga kelele namna hiyo. Bweka tu. Kunguni, hiyo ni kama hiyo ngurumo ya chura. Ngurumo ya chura haizui ng'ombe kunywa maji. Ng'ombe itakunywa maji. We will be able to move beyond 2027. I'm confident we will move beyond 2027. Nobody should try to threaten us. We are Kenyans like you are Kenyans. Don't go and say that Kenyans is sectionalized. Sisi ni watu wa bahari. Sisi ni watu wa ziwa, kanda ya ziwa Victoria. Sisi ni watu wa bonde la ufa. Sisi ni watu wa milima. Sisi ni wa Kenya. All and every Kenyan matters. It's not a question of blood relationship. Oh, you're our cousins. You're our cousins. You're our cousins. So those are your cousins. Those who are not your cousins, what are they? Are they not Kenyans? Are they not Kenyans? Don't tell us also that there is, the government has got shareholders. Watu wengine wako na share mingi, wengine wana kidogo, wengine hawana shares. Then why are you collecting taxes from those who don't have shares? Why do you tax them? You collect shares, money from them, and you say they don't deserve services because they did not vote for you. Shame on you. Shame on you. We want to live in a civilized society, in a civilized manner, in a humane manner. We want Kenyans to be proud as Kenyans. Kenya is a great country. Kenya is a great country. Kenya can transition to a first world. There's no reason why Kenya cannot move the way Kenyans equivalents have done. We can do it when we create enabling environment for Kenyans to thrive. Kenyans can excel. I've seen Kenyans excel elsewhere. I've seen countries much poorer than Kenya transition and become first world. Korea is one. Vietnam was bombarded by Americans for many years. Nobody believed that people remaining in Vietnam. Today, Vietnam's economy is up there. Energy consumption in Vietnam today is 70,000 megawatts. Kenya is only 3,500. We'll go that route. There are many things that can be done here. When we sit down and plan properly, Kenya will be able to take off. Mr. President, we had Vision 2030. It's not been followed very well. As we now want to work with you, we want to ensure that we bring Vision 2030 back on the table. We also revive the NESC, National Economic and Social Council, so that all those flagship projects that we coined during that time can be revived and make sure that they're all moving together.
Wow. So, according to Raila, there is no reason that Kenya cannot be a first world country. However, there is every reason that Kenya cannot become a first world country, because why are we watching while our counterparts are just overtaking us? We've given the example of Korea, is given the example of Vietnam, to name but just a few. Well, with the impunity that we see, and I believe that Kenya is not like our politicians don't know what problems ail us, but we lack the goodwill, we lack the leadership to deliberately do what is right, to create an enabling environment. But remember, we are not here to speak in economics, we are not here to speak about empowerment. I really wanted us to delve into what the attacks that he made on Rigiji. And Rigiji, in as much as he's been he's been instrumental in the movement of trying to expose the evils that have been done by the government, and even the one-term movement that he's created. You can really tell that there's a lot of shock within the government and those who are pro-government, especially the bread-based. But now, the problem that we all have with Rigathi Gachagua is his tribal narrative. He can't overcome that. It's so hard to overcome that. Reminds me of how when you are arrested and you are told that anything that you say from right now can and will be used against you. You have the right to remain silent, blah, 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 blah. Well, when it comes to Riggy, anything he said on matters tribalism from the narrative of shares, he cannot overcome that. Yes, you are implementing an MOU that you had with the president and other leaders, but the fact remains, it was from a tribal perspective. So you are part of the problem. You can't overcome that. And that will be one of his major undoings. If Riggy were to be announced as the presidential flag bearer of the United Opposition, or whatever they are calling themselves, then I think it would be a really easy time for the likes of Ruto and Raila, because of course he's painted himself as a tribal leader. He's high cousins, high brothers, high sister, high mashemeji. We've all had that narrative, and he will have a very hard time removing that tribalism card. The cousin narrative is actually good for the tribal politics, where you are saying these are our cousins, we followed each other, but at what point will you come and say that this narrative is not good? Because if you are my brother, of course, I'll always give you a preferential treatment over my sister, over my cousin. If you are my cousin, I'll always give you preferential treatment over my shemeji, and so on and so forth. So what will happen when we are in 2027? Will it be brothers versus sisters? I mean, brothers versus cousins, cousins versus mashemeji? They are no first-class citizens. We are all taxpayers. And actually, Raila had a valid argument by saying that we are all taxpayers. You can't say that you have shares in government and some people are paying, and we are all paying taxes. Some animals cannot be more equal than others. And that's the narrative that Riggy has been trying to propagate, that you are my sister and you are my cousin. So does it mean that now, because you're my sister, that you have more privileges than the cousin, and maybe the cousin has more privileges than the meshemeji? We need a leader who can provide a national outlook. And I think that's one of the cocoons that has really hindered Riggy from getting to the next level of politics and even having a national outlook. You see, Raila Odinga has his political backyard in the Luo Nyanza, but beyond that, he's able to convince other people from Ukambani, from Western, from Coast, almost every region. Actually, even in the Murima, there are people who believe that Raila is a nationalistic leader because he's been able to overcome that cocoon. We might say that, or we might argue that Ruto is tribal or not, but he's been able to actually present himself as a national leader, which is something that Riggy might never come to do, because I don't think he understands politics beyond the tribal cocoons. And of course, when you have a tribe and with the Murima behind you, you want to lock a certain area and ensure that this is your political backyard. But beyond that, how are you trying to infuse, how are you trying to put your influence on other regions? Because the Murima alone will not win you, or will not take you to power. You need other people. You need to convince other people. How will you be able to overcome the shares narrative? How will you be able to overcome the cousin, brother, shemeji narrative when it is used against you? Riggy, of course, he is our friend, because anyone, the friend of your enemy, the enemy of your enemy, automatically becomes your friend. But on that, this matters tribalism, I really actually think that he is worse than these other kind of leaders. And actually, today I was watching one of his speeches that he made recently in California, saying that calling a Wekesa, someone by the name Wekesa, oh, you are my cousin, you are not my brother. Yes, it might sound fun, but we are all brothers and sisters, even if it's in Christ or Kenyans. We are united by one purpose. We are united in one thing. That's one thing I believe.